Drunk girls walking into traffic is funny. Wandered into traffic and bounced off the hood of a fucking bus. I can see my house from here.
So, all right. What time's Al coming? Calling?
8:45, 9-ish.
All right, very good. As we go to break, we got the How's Your News clip, Anthony.
Oh, the Al Franken one.
Yeah, where the guy, he's retarded or slow. I don't know what the hell.
Very retarded.
He really can't talk, and he pretty much sandbags Al Franken at one of these conventions.
Al Franken, I think Al Franken didn't really know how to handle it.
Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. Check this out.
I didn't understand that. I'm sorry. All righty. I'm Al Franken, and I'm covering this convention.
Yeah.
And how are you having a good time?
Yeah.
Who have you talked to so far? Bouillon. Maya. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. It was really nice talking to you. I'm glad you're here. I think it's fabulous. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good time.
And we're back with the Opie and Anthony program. The ONA virus spreading across America thanks to XM Satellite Radio. He's coming. Jimmy Norton stepped out for a second.
Little Jim.
On the phone, some intelligence, Anthony. We just had the stupid segment, and hopefully this will be much more intelligent than that last segment. Got to say hi to Al Franken. Al.
Hey, guys.
There he is.
How are you, sir?
Don't damn me with that intelligence thing.
No. Well, you obviously weren't listening to the program. We had someone on that was very, very stupid.
Who would that be?
This lady that we like to call Lady Di.
Yeah, she's a very, very unintelligent woman.
Is this one of these things where is she very, very sexy or something?
No, not at all. No. She's going through some hard times. Believe she drinks too much. She doesn't have a job. Her son was taken away from her.
And this is the stuff of humor on the Opie and Anthony show.
Well, yeah, it could be. It's one of those things where we're trying an intervention with her on the air. Trying to slap some sense into her, but she doesn't seem to want the help.
Is she just like a regular caller who's just become a...
Yeah, she's actually started out being a stalker on the show. She'd come down to the studio and bring gifts, and
I like that you have this backstory on things.
it's like
I can't wait to have a backstory on our show. We got to be around a lot longer.
Well, she's one half of the retarded Laverne and Shirley, if you really need to know.
Yeah, she's got a friend who's doing a little better than her.
Because her partner's just as dumb.
Well, I don't like that word.
Oh, no?
You don't like the word retarded? Why?
Well, I think that it hurts the feelings of retarded people.
They don't. Why? They don't get it.
Retarded people. Yeah, we
have a point
actually.
There. No, I think it actually hurts the feelings of the parents.
Yeah, that's true.
People who are challenged.
We actually heard a tape of you at, I believe, the Democratic Convention, talking to somebody from, what the hell was that show called?
Hey, How's Your News?
How's Your News?
Is it like a BBC show?
No, it's a show, and it's done with mentally challenged newscasters.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I understand. Yes.
Well, where the retarded kids interview
mentally challenged, Opie.
Well, yeah. I mean, go ahead. You express it the way you like.
And this guy was talking to you, and obviously it was very hard to understand anything he was saying.
Well, there were a couple guys, and one was smarter than the other.
Smarter?
Yeah, there was actually two guys who were, I think they're both Down syndrome. And one actually made a lot of sense and was pretty smart.
It wasn't Bush and Cheney, was it?
Huh?
It wasn't Bush and Cheney, was it?
Oh, I get it. No. They're just
gonna
evil.
hate us. I know it.
Yeah.
They're just, and one made some sense.
Yeah.
And actually sort of we stayed with each other.
Yeah.
And then the other guy made no sense.
Yeah, the other guy you couldn't understand him, and you were being very diplomatic, Al.
So Al, you don't like labels. You don't like calling people retarded or any of that fun stuff.
Right? Well, liar. I use liar probably more than a lot of people. So
heard that used a few times.
Yeah,
retarded is a little inappropriate.
Yeah.
It's okay. Listen, you're you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, come on.
How do you feel about genetic disaster?
A genetic disaster.
Hey, we got to laugh at it. Come on.
Yeah,
You're a comedian. Come on, you can find that's funny, sort of, right?
Some of the irreverent stuff he's written. I know. Stop.
Hi, your son's a genetic disaster. Ha ha ha. See, no one would laugh harder.
Exactly. So what do you got going on?
It really is as they position the flowers in front of that part of the family photo.
Did they position the flowers?
No, as they position the flowers in front of that part of the family photo, you know, Jimmy kind of relating that perhaps some of those children will ruin the family photos.
Oh, I see.
Very inappropriate.
I got.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's just trying to be shocking, Al.
Not at all, actually. I didn't bring it up.
Jimmy's trying to keep that shock jock tag or something.
Yeah.
Never.
Well, that's why you're on satellite.
Yeah. So we got thrown off of regular radio. Al.
How does that work? Is that working well, the satellite thing?
It seems to be working very well. We have the freedom to say a lot of stuff that we just used to not be able to say. Of course, we still can't have a couple go into a church and have sex or anything.
Why not?
But we, I don't know, people seem to be a little sensitive about that.
Okay, I can see the church being sensitive.
Yeah, the church gets a little sensitive. A couple of people write some letters, and then we get thrown off the air.
But you don't get thrown off satellite. It's impossible.
No, satellite's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. If there is a way, we'll probably figure it out eventually. But yeah, it's a little rough. Well,
so then you go to the other satellite channel.
Yeah.
If they're still in existence, where they're hemorrhaging cash, I don't think they'll be around for too much longer.
True. Good, Jimmy. What do you got going on your program today?
Well, we have David Brock, who is head of Media Matters for America. He was the former right-wing hitman working for the Republicans and
now he's a
turncoat. Now he's seen the light and he is sort of monitoring them. He's like a media watchdog group, so he'll be or heads it, and he usually brings in some great lies and outrages coming from the right.
You guys love putting those turncoats on. I love it.
Well, he really is. He's someone I think who genuinely had a crisis of conscience, and I admire him actually.
I have a question for you. This is just I think when Ben called to get you on the show, because I'm actually a fan. We all love what you do.
Okay.
I think it was the agent of the publicist was asking us what our political affiliations are. I don't know if that comes from you or if that's just them kind of being overprotective. Why would they ask that?
Because I don't actually mind going on right-wing shows because then, usually, first of all, if you go on a right-wing show and the people aren't, the radio guy isn't very smart, that's great.
Right.
And if he is smart, then it's fun, So I don't mind that at all. But that might have been, I don't even know who called you up, and
it might have been them just being a little bit, or maybe just giving you a heads up. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, there is the occasional right-wing person who is just so obnoxious.
Yeah.
I mean, in the sense of, I think almost trying to provoke me from the beginning by saying things that are stupid / not true / insulting.
Kind of like a Ted Nugent.
Probably we'd get along.
You think?
Really?
If I was on Nugent's show.
He's consistent. I mean, Ted Nugent, he annoys me. I'm more conservative. He bugs me, too. He's a bit self-righteous, but at least he's consistent.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, they're usually, I hate to say this, but it's often these women, these right-wing women.
Yeah.
Who, in addition to everything else, are quite, and it's men too, but there's a certain level of ill-informed stupidity.
Yeah, the right-wing women are never as intelligent and likable as the left-wing ones like Janine Garofalo.
Well, I really do, and she's funny. I'm talking about, just,
Ann Coulter.
Ann is, I'm talking about, Ann is just deliberately dishonest and crafts her lies in a way that I find astounding, and is sort of shrill and strident and mean. I'm talking about just plain old dumb.
Do you think like I seem like the Democratic Party seems to really kind of be looking for somebody? It doesn't seem like there's anybody coming at it, because like you look at New York, which is typically very liberal, and yet they've had 2 Giulianis and one Bloomberg and Governor Pataki now, and it seems like in California they have Schwarzenegger.
Well, I think we have Elliot Spitzer is going to be a force in New York and in national politics.
You also thought Kerry was going to win, didn't you?
You're not that bummed that he lost, right, Al?
I am bummed that he lost.
I mean, but do you honestly think he would have got the job done? I mean, I was hoping that we would have gotten a much better candidate.
I think he'd been a better president, certainly, than a candidate. And, I think he's a serious guy, and I think that's one of the reasons he lost, is that he's just, kind of thoughtful. And
I just think the Republicans know how to campaign better.
Well, this time they did.
Yeah.
They didn't in 1992 and 1996.
You're not from the school of they stole Ohio this
No.
this time around?
No.
Okay.
Our show, we call ourselves the most responsible show on radio. We looked at that, and we had guys on from MIT and Cornell who were, experts in voting machines and in this process. And no, we never believed on our show that the election was stolen. We believe that there are irregularities and things to look at, and that we do need. I cheered on Barbara Boxer because I think it needed to be underlined that there were some irregularities, and I think we need change by the next election to make sure. It's ridiculous to have Republican secretaries of state, or for that matter, Democratic secretaries of state, making arbitrary calls about the way elections are held in states.
I think the Democrats should concentrate in the next 4 years a little more on a candidate instead of voting irregularities, though. You had 4 years to come up with a candidate.
I don't think that you do one at the exclusion of the other, and I think you're right. I think we need, sometimes I consider myself in show business, call it casting. We need
another Clinton. Guy has some charisma.
That's easy to say, though. That's easy to say. But like a Barack Obama, he won't probably be ready in 4 years. But there's a guy who I think everyone really responded.
I don't think America's ready for a black president.
Unless he's conservative. I think a conservative black president has a better shot.
So.
No, I'm saying he has a better shot, I think. And probably as a vice president, it would have to be a guy like Colin Powell or somebody who people already like.
Colin Powell said no, I'm not going to do it. But this is what I always said, that for as a Jew, that looking at Colin Powell, I think the first Jew to be elected president will have to be a 4-star general.
Yeah.
It gave me the idea that we Jews should look for a high-ranking Jew in the military and start grooming for at the White House. I did some research, and unfortunately, it turns out that currently the highest-ranking Jew in the military is the comptroller of the Coast Guard. So things aren't looking good on that.
No.
And what about Hillary?
Hillary, I was kind of like after the election saying, oh, boy, she's divisive, a lot of people don't like her. But she said something I thought was really interesting. She said, yeah, well, Bush is divisive, and it seems to have worked for him. So when she said that, I like Hillary tremendously. I do, and I think she'd be a great president.
But the same question. I mean, do you think the country's ready for a female president?
Well, again, I think it depends who it is. And,
yeah, but the Democrats just have to stop with the gag, prop, gimmick type candidates.
Well, I don't think that Kerry was a gimmick.
No. I mean, because looking to the future now, you're hearing people talk about Obama and Hillary and stuff.
I don't think he's a gimmick. I think he's the real deal. Here's a guy who was, head of the Harvard Law Review when he was at Harvard. He, had the chance. Those guys usually have the chance to clerk for a Supreme Court judge, and then
I understand.
Into big, corporate practice. And he went to the South Side of Chicago and worked with
baddest part of town.
Huh?
South Side of Chicago, baddest part of town.
Yeah, and
go down there. You better just beware.
And I think he's the real deal. I really do.
But has he done anything though, or has he? I mean, he made a great speech at the Democrat National Convention. He's obviously a very charismatic guy and a very electric speaker. But has he really done anything like politically that way you would go, okay, this is a guy for these reasons?
Yeah,
or just his speaking ability.
He moved things through the legislature in Illinois that where he worked with the Republicans and got things done.
Is he from Vernon Hills, Illinois?
Actually, I don't know what I think he's from the South Side of Chicago in terms of where he went. I don't think he didn't grow up in Illinois. Did he?
Oh, okay. No, someone said he was from. There's a club called Zanies out there.
You
I know
plug
Zanies,
ass.
Yeah. I did Zanies once, but it was in Chicago.
No, there's one in Chicago, one in Vernon Hills.
Walked into a plug is what you did.
Just walked into a Jim Norton
doing
plug.
Zanies?
Yeah, he's
Oh, it's this Friday and Saturday. I'll be performing there, but that was not why I mentioned that.
Is he the worst or what, Al?
You know what? I know that Obama goes to the Zanies. He loves that Zanies.
Loves to laugh.
Because that is a great Zanies. They have only the best.
Let me ask. This is something that, like, I mean, I'm a comic too, so I have to deal with a lot of the stuff in show business and the people above you. It seems like to me, like the left in the last X amount of years has gotten very, very self-righteous and very, very the conservatives were always the ones who suppressed freedom of speech. I mean, you look what happened to Lenny Bruce and blah blah blah. And it seems like now it's the ultra left who is doing that.
You mean like hate speech kind of stuff?
Not well. I think a lot of times genuine hate speech.
Let's look at this. Who fined Howard Stern?
Oh, absolutely the conservatives.
Yeah.
All conservatives.
No, well, it's not all. I mean, yeah, but I mean, those people, the FCC there is conservative. Michael Powell runs a conservative FCC.
Well, he was, I think, a Clinton appointee, but yeah, I mean, that's all.
No, actually not.
No?
No.
All right.
Bush made him head of the FCC.
Oh, but wasn't he appointed to the FCC by Clinton?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think he was.
Well, maybe, but whether or not, it's now a Republican FCC,
right.
and they're the ones who made the fine.
And the complaints all came from, I think we talked about this once, I think 99% of all complaints came from the Parents Television Council,
which is Brent Bazell's right-wing group.
Yeah, very conservative.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think it's easy to say that, these liberals with their political correctness saying you can't say, you hate black people. All that, politically correct garbage. But then when I'll give you an example. Michael Savage, right around the time that Stern was being fined, Michael Savage was during Abu Ghraib, was saying things like, they should take these prisoners and take them up in a plane and shove dynamite up their rectums and drop them from a plane.
Did he really mean that?
Yeah, and then that's fine.
All right, so you're saying he was being practical.
Well, he was, I don't know, you'd just seen Scarface or something. But what I'm saying is that hate speech seems to be fine to the FCC.
But hate speech is not illegal unless you're inciting somebody. Obviously, under freedom of speech, what do you have? I think it's time, place, and manner. You can't yell fire in a movie theater. Hate speech is not an FCC violation.
Right.
Well, it seems obscene, doesn't it? I mean,
no.
Isn't it just in the mind of what's obscene is in the mind of 3 FCC commissioners?
Well, here's what I will say about hate speech. Legitimate hate speech, kill Jews or kill black is disgusting. But it seems
legitimate. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
I agree with that, but it seems to me like a lot of people, like I was arguing with some female comic once, she was saying Andrew Dice Clay spouted hate speech, and it seems to me like on the left, a lot of times people will hide behind hate speech to just to quell or quash things that they just think are unpopular and that they don't like.
Yeah, that's there's a difference here. You can say I don't like Andrew Dice Clay. There's another thing about Andrew Dice Clay shouldn't be allowed to do what Andrew Dice Clay does, which is ridiculous.
And I
thought Andrew Dice Clay had some very funny stuff.
Agreed, but the point is that what she was doing was hiding behind the term hate speech, which gets this knee-jerk reaction when it wasn't hate speech, and it also takes away from genuine hate speech when it's done.
I'm in total agreement. Well said.
Al, a better example is the FCC had no problem with I think it was Sean Hannity playing the audio of someone being beheaded.
Right.
Which I think is, I think it all should be on the radio. But if you're going to be talking about obscene, I think that is much more detrimental to the children. Because let's face it, it's all about the children as far as the FCC is concerned. I think that's a better example. I was outraged, even though I think it should be on the radio.
It's more disturbing to listen to than it is having some girl talk about her cans.
Right.
Yeah. To veer off, I was just at a USO show tour. And I went to Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan, and God, I met a soldier who was in counterintelligence in Kuwait who had just come out of Iraq, and with tears in his eyes, he explained part of what his job was in counterintelligence, which was to view the tapes of people getting beheaded.
Ugh.
and so that he could try to determine if it was the same people doing it each time. And he just said, I've seen things that no one should ever have to see, and at a certain point of it, he couldn't take it anymore. And there is this morbidity in our culture that I remember debating Ann Coulter, and she was saying that Abu Ghraib was overcovered, and that we weren't covering the beheadings enough. And her argument was that on the internet the beheadings are the most clicked on things or whatever. And I said, that's because people just are morbid. That's not because they are more interested in the torture or the abuses of the terrorists.
Well, isn't that the same reason they looked at the Abu Ghraib photos? The same morbidity?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, except the importance of showing the Abu Ghraib photos was we're responsible for that. We're not, you know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. When I look at anything having to do with the beheadings, it's really horribly disturbing. When I was looking at the Abu Ghraib pictures, okay, obviously we shouldn't have been doing that.
Of course.
But it was nothing that made me go, oh my God, this is so horrific. I cannot even believe that this is happening.
And now, this is one thing. When you talk about like the way we covered Abu Ghraib, people in this country were outraged. But when you look at the beheadings, or how Al Jazeera wouldn't show what Margaret Hassan, her name was, I think. Remember when she was making a plea for her life and she passed out, and they threw water in her face. And even that was so reprehensible, Al Jazeera wouldn't show it, and I think they wouldn't show it because they knew that on some level they agree with the motives of these terrorists, if not the means, and they felt it would hurt the cause. Al Jazeera wouldn't show that because they knew it would hurt the insurgents' cause.
Yeah, why? I think that should have been shown by Al Jazeera, and I think that and I think it was right for us to show Abu Ghraib.
I agree,
because it's our responsibility. What's interesting is I did a USO show at Abu Ghraib last month. It was the first one done at Abu Ghraib. And, the guys serving there now are living with the stigma of what happened.
Right.
And they're different people. But believe it or not, I was traveling with the Sergeant Major of the Army, who's the highest ranking non-com in the Army, and he was leading our tour. And the commander at Abu Ghraib introduced him by saying, "Let's give a warm Abu Ghraib welcome to." I kid you not.
That's nice.
With no irony whatsoever.
That's funny.
We're like from there, oh my God.
Do you think, here's the thing I've always think, do you think the main problem with Abu Ghraib was that people were so outraged, or the fact that people just don't like Linda England because she kind of looks like John Larroquette?
I thought you were going to say John Cougar Mellencamp. I think that it was, we're better. We're supposed to be better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a huge, huge. On the one hand, showing it. It's a huge tactical mistake, and and we have done everything it seems like we could to build this insurgency from the very beginning, from not securing, these so there wasn't looting, to not building up their infrastructure and spending money on reconstruction. All that stuff we just screwed up.
But it seems like every time, this is the thing I disagree with, because it seems like every time we try to get the infrastructure going, whether it's the police or the army or the pipeline, insurgents blow it up. And al-Zarqawi, I guess, came over from Afghanistan, and it just seems like as soon as Saddam was captured and people realized that, okay, he really is gone, that's when everything heated up. And I'm wondering,
everything's heated up. Before then, they were saying, "Oh, they're desperate. That's why this is happening." What we should have done is, and I talked to officers over there, and the more I got to know them, the more frank they seem to be, and they believe that, first of all, a lot of them believe we never should have gone in. That's not to say they're not trying to do their job.
Right.
They are. But many of them are very, very angry at Rumsfeld for not sending in enough troops at the beginning.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Because we could have secured the country. We could have prevented looting. You remember when the looting started, Rumsfeld said, well, people in a free society are free to do what they want. And they aren't. We aren't. I didn't know that. We in the United States are not free to loot.
No.
And I think that was that mindset, which is that they're not like us. They're subhuman or something.
No. My point is, where was this anger when, like al-Sadr, who Saddam murdered his father? Where was his uprising and his anger when Saddam was there
against Saddam?
I mean,
right.
We haven't been perfect, but let's be honest. Anyone that can make a comparison between the U.S. military and the reign of Saddam Hussein, they're obviously completely separate things. So where was this anger and this outrage
and insurgency? Where
was it when he was raping and murdering them? At an alarming rate.
Well, we were of course helping him.
How?
Well, by arming him.
When did we arm him? When he was fighting Iran? We helped Bin Laden.
We armed him in the 80s. We gave him loans.
But again, that was to fight the Iranians.
Top-loading VCRs?
Yeah, to fight the Iranians.
It's the 80s.
Exactly.
But that wasn't helping him kill his own people. That wasn't an intent.
Oh, yes, it was. When do you think he gassed the Kurds?
No, but I'm saying that wasn't the intent. That wasn't the intent. Like when we sold...
Yeah, but, he would gas the Kurds and then we'd help them.
Yeah, but we sold all these planes to Iran right before the Shah was overthrown by the Ayatollah, and we certainly didn't do
that.
But it wasn't done with the intent of using these planes to kill people, although the Iranians couldn't figure them out.
So, yeah, we're not so much talking about the equipment that we were giving to help him.
We were aware of what Saddam was doing, and then in spite of being aware of what he was doing, we were helping.
Well, he was gassing the Kurds when in the 80s. We were helping him fight Iran.
Yeah, and you remember Rumsfeld went over there and shook his hand, and we at that point were more afraid of Iran. So after he had gassed the Kurds, we continued to support him. We supported him all the way through until he invaded Kuwait.
Yeah, but then that's quite a few years ago now. Where was this insurgency?
I know, but you're asking me where was our outrage when he was gassed?
No. Where was the outrage of the people? I'm saying where was the uprising of the people like al-Sadr? That's what I'm saying.
Oh well, they lived in a horrible dictatorship, and if they if they were what we've done is one of the officers up there told me, a pretty high-ranking officer said that he had been in the 91 Gulf War, and he felt that Bush had made the right call, the first Bush, because he said that Saddam was the lesser of three evils. I said, well, what are the other two? And he said the Sunnis and the Shias. And I think we went in there very believing our own propaganda. I think we went in believing Chalabi, who it turns out is, Iranian spy. We just, we had a president who went to war basically because he felt God told him to go to war.
Well, you just said that that Saddam gassed his own people and that they were living under a horrible dictatorship.
Right.
But in the same thing, the left will kind of say, well, we never should have done anything to get him out.
Well, I don't think that there's horrible dictatorships all over the place. Do you want to invade Sudan right now?
No. But no, I'm not saying we should invade every place, but it just seems like you can't win when it comes to the left on this one at all. Like if we don't invade, we're wrong for not helping, and if we do invade, we're wrong.
People said that. I think people on the left were saying we should contain the guy,
and we should do something in Sudan. To be honest with you, we should do something. I don't know what. Well, we should do something. I mean, Muslims are not behaving well.
Well, I mean, and also in Sudan they killed a couple million Christians in southern Sudan, and that's. I mean, if we weren't stretched so thin in Iraq, it's there's all kinds of places in the world where we could use our forces. Mm-hmm. We have North Korea and Iran actually are developing or have nuclear weapons.
Yes.
We were told because Bush wanted there to be nuclear weapons in Iraq or a program to develop them. We were told that there were, and there weren't.
Yeah, we all found that out.
Yeah. Delphi actually today, it's in the paper today, they're just completely giving up.
Yeah, they gave up on the WMD. Just gave up.
Yeah, I mean, and yet most people who voted for Bush believe that they had found WMD in
Can't we
Iraq.
all just get along?
Can't we all just get
didn't
along?
Want to?
It's Team America.
Huh?
We're just wishing everyone could just get along now.
And the next time we talk to you, we have to wrap this up, but the next time we talk to you, there were no WMDs, but we'll talk about how Hans Blix did say that he thought Saddam was bluffing to make the world think he had them to avoid an invasion.
Very good.
Yeah, no. It's a real complicated. We fell for what Saddam was doing. I think Saddam was actually pretending he had him to scare other people his enemies in Iraq and in Iran, and to be a big guy in the Arab world. I've got WMD.
Right. Yeah, and he fooled everybody.
And he fooled us because we go like, why would he pretend to have him?
Final question, Al. Final question. Eddie Murphy, good guy?
I like Eddie, yeah. I mean, I don't know Eddie that well.
When was the last time you talked to Eddie Murphy?
Well, it would be a while ago. Probably, I can't remember. I did a film. I did Trading Places with him.
Oh, my God, that's right. He wasn't.
Of course he was in it. I love that movie, by the way.
What time is your show on, and how can people hear it?
It's noon to 3. We're on Sirius. We're on XM. We're
you're on XM 167.
Yeah, is that it? And we're also
America
in
Left
45 markets, and you also can stream us, and we're I think the #1 streamed live audio at AirAmericaRadio.com.
All right. Continued success, my friend.
Thank you, guys. It was fun talking to you.
Take care, Al.
Thank you, Al.
Talk to you soon, I hope.
All right, buddy.
There he goes, Al Franken.
Coming up next on Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton sings.
Forget me not, you sightless twat. Your dog just shit on my rug.
Thought that was pretty fucking funny, didn't you?
How's that for a sketch?
The Opie and Anthony Show.
You don't do sketches, stupid.
I was walking down the street, and some construction guy was shouting at me, "Hey, show me your cans!" So I did. And he plummeted 17 floors and was impaled on a forklift. But my tits looked great.
Please, wow responsibly. A public service announcement of the Opie and Anthony Show.
It's the O&A virus.